today we're going to be checking out another international military ration. This is the coveted Australian CR1M, Australian Defense Force's 24-hour combat ration. Wow, this thing is stacked. It is gigantic and very, very heavy. So this is, of course, a CR1M. This particular one was packed on the 16th day of April 2018. So at this point, it does have a little bit of age on it. These rations are exceedingly rare in the US, and when you do find them, they're very expensive. There's not really that much information on the outside besides this food allergy caution. This ration is not for private resale to public, and this is menu A. The first thing in there is a prepared foods brand 65-gram package of bread. That is a product of New Zealand. Super excited to try that out. A 60-gram package of instant mashed potatoes. A large package of peppermint lifesavers, milk chocolate M&Ms, a large 85-gram tube of sweetened and condensed milk, a slightly dented can of diced pears and syrup, 140 grams, a very tiny 56-gram tin of processed cheddar cheese by Bega. The best before date on that was February 10th, 2020, so we're a little bit out of date at this point, but no doubt that'll still be okay. A 55-gram package of mee goreng noodles, 35 grams of biscuit cream cracker, a biscuit jam sandwich, natural muesli with fruits and seeds, 90 grams, a large package of non-dairy creamer, an orange isotonic drink powder, and another one of those, an awesome looking tube of jam strawberry, 26 grams. This is the first retort we've made it to. Meals ready to eat. Prepared foods, Moroccan lamb. Heck yeah, that sounds delicious. It's a 250-gram package, and those ingredients don't seem all that crazy. Also a product of New Zealand. Another retort package. This one is butter chicken, also a 250-gram portion. A sort of retail-looking package of hospital formula sustagen. That does not sound very tasty. Made by Nestle Health Science. I think this is sort of like a meal replacement drink kind of thing, but it would be a good source of added nutrition for a soldier. A 50-gram chocolate ration, a tiny 20-gram all fruit bar, a small tube of the dreaded yeast extract. Some people love this. Some people hate this. I'm actually looking forward to that. A whole grain cereal bar with seeds. This is a very cool addition to Australian rations. They add a plastic container of matches, both regular matches and windproof, waterproof matches, and a striker. Also, very unique to Australian rations, a small scouring pad to clean your mess kit with, a random plastic bag for pouring water or I guess holding unused contents, a pretty decent little size package of napkins, the awesome Australian ration spoon, and this thing is built like a tank. 2 packages of Mentos, pure fresh chewing gum, a sachet of salt, a small packet of Tabasco, ground black pepper, packaged in New Zealand, 3.5 grams of instant coffee. It does say that is freeze-dried. A package of tomato ketchup. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to go on in this ration. Another package of instant coffee, 2 tea bags, 7 grams of sugar, white, fine, another 7 grams of sugar, a few endlessly useful rubber bands, and finally, the Fred, the filled ration eating device. It's basically a P51 can opener with the addition of a sort of spoon-like end for eating. Pretty cool to finally have a Fred. There was also a little bit of written information in there. It looks like this has all the CR1M menus, has information about the best before date, water sterilization, another food allergy notice, and general information. The CR1M consists of 2 main meals, various light snacks, sundry and beverage items. The CR1M is designed to provide the required daily nutritional value to sustain a soldier over a 24-hour period. Failure to consume all food items within this period will impact upon functional energy levels due to an unbalanced nutritional intake. So I guess that means since this is a 24-hour ration, we're gonna have to eat all this today. So let's go ahead and get them split up into meals and get over to breakfast. Strap in, guys, because I have a feeling this is gonna be a long video. There's so much stuff in this ration. We'll start it out here with the muesli. Natural muesli with fruits and seeds. I can see oats. I see what look like pumpkin seeds. It has all kinds of little bits of stuff in there. Chunks of dried papaya, dried apricot. There's some raisins in there. Little pieces of dried pineapple. I want to try just a little bite of this by itself to make sure it hasn't gone bad. I'll just get some of the rolled oats there to start with. Those still taste really good. No real sweetness in the oats themselves. There is like some milk powder or something in this that made it a little bit creamy. Of course, you can have muesli dry if you want it. You can add cold water to it and make it more like a breakfast cereal. or you can add hot water and make sort of a porridge. I think that's what I'm gonna go with. It shouldn't take very much. I don't want it to be soupy, I just want it to be moist. When the water hit it, you can instantly start getting this sort of oatmeal type aroma coming off of it. The dried fruit are really livening up in color now that the water's hit them as well. I can see the papaya peeking through and the raisins peeking through. A lot more colorful now. We'll give that a minute to continue rehydration. Let's get this coffee going. Nice large freeze-dried crystals. They look like they're in perfect shape. Has a pretty powerful smell to it. I think this is gonna turn out to be a decent cup. We'll do some sugar in there. 7 grams is a bit excessive. Probably go with about 1/3 of that package. And there's so much non-dairy creamer in this pack. I think it's meant to be used for both coffees and both teas if you would like, so we're just gonna add some of this to it. That looks like a decent amount. That's dissolving fantastically. Looking good, smelling good. Let's go ahead and give that a taste. It's bitter. It's bitter and it's acidic. It's interesting. It's a pretty strong cup of coffee, actually. It could use more creamer and more sugar. Pretty good the way it is right now, though. It has a sort of like burnt, dark roast kind of flavor going on. That will give us a decent opportunity to try out our sweetened and condensed milk. So it comes in this really cool tube. Of course, that is sealed, and we gotta pop it with our cap here. Now that that's opened, squeeze a little of that on the spoon. Thick, sort of a light caramel color going on. Super sweet, very creamy, and oddly enough, slightly cheesy. I've never really experienced that with sweetened and condensed milk before, but I know some people kind of perceive it that way. This is the first for me. Yeah, it's got this weird, like, dairy cheesiness to it, not in a bad way. I'm completely okay with that flavor. I think I'll add just a bit of this to the coffee to sweeten it and lighten it up even more. This is such a large tube, you have to find all kinds of ways to use it. And it certainly lightened the color up just a little bit more. Let's give it a taste with the sweetened and condensed milk. Oh yeah, that killed the bitterness. Oh, that's 10 times better. That turned what was a mediocre cup of ration coffee into one of the best I can remember. Good stuff. I'm gonna go and finish that off. Let's hope that caffeine kicks in. In for drink number 2 now, our Sustagen. Perfect way to start the day. It's high in protein, high in calcium and vitamin D, and high in iron and magnesium. It's heavily fortified with vitamins. This literally has everything in it that the body needs. This entire package is only supposed to be prepared with 200 mils of water. That's a lot of powder for 200 mils. This package seems to be large enough for where you could probably mix this in the package with 200 mils if you really wanted to. I think we'll use a glass though. It smells very sweet. Try to eyeball 200 mils, and that's about 200. I'm using very cold water, so this might not want to stir up too well. Man, I think this is gonna be some thick stuff. Thick and gritty, it's looking like right now. I think we'll let that mellow out for a minute before trying it. Take a look at this all fruit bar. It's a tiny little thing. Reminds me of one of those raw bites. Ooh, that's looking nice though. This thing smells ridiculously good, and that's gonna be from the black currant and our biscuit cream cracker. Looks like they're a little broken in there. They include 4 crackers total, a little bit crumbly. All right, let's try out our muesli. It is super thick. Letting it sit and cool down a little bit might not have been the best idea, but man, is that looking like a hearty portion of muesli there. Get a big heaping spoonful with little bits of everything in it. Tons of dried fruit. That is absolutely bursting with little fruit flavors. The mix is not very sweet at all. You can taste a little bit of the pumpkin seeds. All the fruit flavors kind of blend together. They have this awesome chewy aspect to it. Pretty tasty. I think you can use a little bit of extra sweetener. So a perfect job for our sweetened and condensed milk here. Check out that spoonful. That's gonna be good. Oh yeah, that turned the sugar level right up. The muesli masks that sort of cheesy flavor I was getting with the condensed milk. It just adds some extra creamy deliciousness. Now let's try out this Sustagen. That is a thick mix. It's not very offensive. I was expecting it to be quite a bit worse. It's just sort of like a very thick chocolate milk. It's not even gritty. I was also expecting sort of a weird, heavily fortified vitamin type flavor. I'm not really picking up on that either. That's just an enjoyable little drink actually. One last sip of that. A little bit chunky, but that was actually really tasty. Cream cracker time. Start with this corner piece. Very crunchy, light and airy. Look how big those air pockets are on the inside. They're crisp and light. Quite often, ration crackers will be very dense. These are the complete opposite of that. Very light, complementary flavor. Would probably be good with pretty much anything. Let's see how they pair with strawberry jam. Ooh, it's running out. Kind of love these little squeeze tubes. The jam has little bits of plant matter in there. Always a sign of quality. You know, that jam is delicious. It's a little bit tart. Good sweetness to it. Powerful. Strawberry flavor. Good stuff. I actually think a little bit of that on the muesli would be a good pairing. Fruity and delicious. Since we got them both out, we'll do sweetened and condensed milk on a cracker. Put a healthy blob on there. The jam is a better combo in my opinion. With the sweetened and condensed milk, it's sort of a weird sweet cracker. But what if we mix sweetened condensed milk and jam together on it? Ooh, those two mixed together is almost like a strawberry cheesecake kind of flavor. Very interesting. All right, now for our apple and black currant fruit bar. This thing is very dense, seems to be very chewy. Look at that inside. Oh yes, let's get a taste of that. Wow, that is bursting with blackcurrant flavor. Sweet, tart, slightly perfumey. It's very chewy. That has to have a ton of pectin in it because it's almost candy-like, and then it sticks to your teeth. My only complaint with that is that it was so small, it's going in like 3 bites. Man, I hope I can run across one of those again. That was delicious. One last bite of that. Well, I guess I'll finish this up for breakfast. Back with our lunch. In Australian service, these rations are heated up by way of a water bath inside of a mess kit heated with hexamine tablets. For the purposes of the video, I just boiled the retort pouch for the main in boiling water, which does essentially the same thing. Now we're going to be doing the miga noodles along with our lunch. And the direction of this is to cook the noodles in 400 milliliters of boiling water for 2 to 3 minutes. And then to drain and add the seasonings. Well, since we're not using a mess kit for this, I don't actually have boiling water. I have water that has recently been boiling. And what we're going to do is attempt to prepare these noodles in their package. So it looks like they're a little bit broken up already. Pull our sauce packets out. If memory serves, miga noodles are Indonesian, but I'm not an expert on that front, so correct me if I'm wrong. I'll finish breaking these up a little bit so we can get them nestled into the bottom of our pouch. It wanted us to cook this in 300 to 400 milliliters. I'm just gonna add water to cover, and we're gonna let it sit. Hopefully this doesn't turn out disastrous. Let's go ahead and open our main up. These are world-class retort pouches. They're gusseted so they stand up on their own, and they have a couple tear notches that work very well. Oh man, that smells good, and boy does it look good. You gotta love Indian food. The aroma coming off of that is amazing. Heavily spiced. Definitely has a curry type thing going on. Decent sized portion at 250 grams. I know I usually go right into preparing the drinks, but I gotta try this main right away. We definitely have some pieces of onion in there. We got some grains. It appears to be rice, sort of a large grain rice. There are chicken chunks, and those look a little bit on the dry side. Luckily, they're suspended in all this awesome sauce. Little flakes of dried herb. It has this amazing garlicky, oniony, savory Indian spice aroma. Let's go right in for a big spoonful of that while it's screaming hot. Oh, wow. That is creamy and absolutely delicious and just a little bit spicy. The name does it justice. Very creamy and buttery. The chicken is a little bit dried out and chewy, but this is bursting with spices. Absolutely fantastic. Wow, that is good stuff. Has kind of a coconut cream thing going on. As far as spices go, it's hard to pick out anything individually. I want to say this has some cumin in it and possibly some cardamom. The sauce has kind of a tomato base, but it's more creamy than just straight tomato sauce. There's something else going on in that. I actually have to stop myself from finishing that off. Perfect balance of a little bit of sweet and a little bit of spiciness. Really good. Let's fill our noodles. Oh, they feel nice and soft. I will drain off the extra liquid. Let's put our noodles on the tray here. They softened up perfectly, but they're definitely looking a little bit sad. So I don't remember what these miga sauces really are. Now this one is sort of like a really thick, like sweet soy sauce if memory serves. Don't know what the middle one is. If you do know what that one is, let me know down in the comments. And then this last one is some kind of oil. Put all that saucy goodness on them. This middle one that's sort of a paste, I don't remember it looking like this. It's very dried up. I actually don't know if I'm gonna be able to get any of that out of the package. And it's all over my fingers. Oh, that's gonna make a mess. And our thick sweet soy sauce, that's coming out a bit easier. All right, well, I did the best I could with the sauces. Now we have our dry seasoning mix. That's what puts miga like above just regular ramen noodles. There's so many different flavoring packets in every pack. It's great. This one is in sort of a solid form. Definitely on the chunky side as opposed to being powder. And this ration is showing its age just a little bit now. And then this last part is sort of a dried, crispy onion, and that's still in decent shape. I don't think that's gonna mix up well at all, so I'm gonna hit it with just a splash of its cooking liquid to sort of make a sauce and do our best to stir that in. Again, this is not the optimal way to prepare this in a tray like this, but it seems to be coming together. We'll let that marinate for just a little bit while we prepare our isotonic drink powder. This package says to prepare it in 500 to 600 milliliters. The powder's looking fairly decent, not very clumpy. Put that in our glass. Just shy of 500 there. Whoa, that is like insanely sweet. It's very good though. Doesn't really taste like orange. Not very sour. Adds sort of this weird thickness to the water that I don't really recall experiencing before. You can tell there's a lot of salt in this, but that is a pretty good isotonic drink. All right, let's try our miga. Darkened up just a little bit. There seems to be a clump of undissolved powder in there. Hopefully that's good. The noodles are very soft. It's a little bit salty, a little bit sweet. Definitely a step up from ramen, that's for dang sure. That's certainly a win in my book. Let's try it with just a little bit of our butter chicken. I'm sure those two are gonna mix nicely. Let's see. Oh yeah, that is the ticket right there. Just having that nice little bed of noodles for that super flavorful butter chicken to kind of sit on is a delectable combination. Good stuff. Ever since I got into rations, I've always wanted to try this Australian bread. Look at that loaf. Nice blonde color to it. It has a very yeasty smell, feels pretty soft, but dense and springy at the same time. Break off a piece of that. There's the inside. Look at this nice, squishy, actual like bread-like. Wow, that is good. Has a good chew to it, but not overly chewy. It's not too terribly dry. I tell you what, I like that. Let's try a piece with just a little bit of our strawberry jam that we left over from breakfast. Jam and bread, hard to beat that. Oh man, that is one heck of a combo. Since we're testing out the bread, I think we'll have to try the yeast extract with that. Pop that cap of this stuff. Should be very dark and slightly disturbing looking. Yeast extract is actually a byproduct from beer making, is the way I understand it. They press beer through a series of filters, and this stuff is just kind of the leftover gunk from those pressings. I guess at some point in the past, some fella thought it was a good idea to try that stuff out and see what it tastes like. Apparently, he liked it and told someone else because now it's a thing. But it's sort of a weird little log of black goo there. Intensely salty. It has sort of this sickening kind of bitter beer almost like thing going on. This is the epitome of what the Japanese would call umami. That is the definition of an umami flavor. The fourth flavor, sort of savory bitterness. Put some of that on the bread. This stuff is supposed to go on stuff fairly thin. You're not supposed to just like eat it out of the tube, I don't think. But that looks like a decent portion to go on the bread there. Let's give that a taste. That is a very strong flavor. I'm gonna say if this is Vegemite, which I think it is, I prefer Marmite, which is the only other yeast extract I've had before. Marmite seemed to be a little bit sweeter than this is. This is like a super, super ultra savory flavor. We'll try that out on the cracker. I actually like it better on the cracker than with the bread. These crackers are like not salted on the outside, so that saltiness is actually fairly welcome. Those go together very well. Let's try out our Fred filled ration eating device and our little can of Bega cheese here. When I think canned processed cheese, I think Bega. Fred's making quick work of this. Much nicer than a P38. Sort of a creamy white cheddar. Smells like any old processed cheese. Let's scoop a little bit out with our Fred. Little cheese scoop. And it tastes like processed cheddar cheese. Akin to that in Russian rations. The ones from Russian rations are a little bit creamier. And this has sort of a metallic flavor going on just a little bit. It tastes kind of like a can, but I suppose eating it off the Fred could have something to do with that. It's good though. You have to like processed cheese to like this. And processed cheese is something I definitely don't have a problem with, so I don't mind it. Put some of that on our bread there. Bread and cheese. That might be the best thing I've had with the bread so far. That creaminess really helps that bread out. I'll get a little bit more of that cheese and really turn on the umami with this cracker. We got cheese, yeast extract, and cracker. Man, that yeast extract is so powerful, but that is great. It's not often that I experience completely new flavors, but this is certainly one of those times. This stuff is very interesting. My taste buds doesn't really know how to process it, but I like it. I have all these condiments: ketchup, Tabasco, black pepper, salt. I don't think this main needs any of that. I think it would just take away from it probably. It's literally perfect just the way it is. Let's give this whole grain cereal bar with seeds a try. It looks very much like a granola bar. Oh, right away I can tell it has sesame seeds in it. I see flax seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. I see some oats. Seems to be very sticky and chewy. They didn't lie when they said with seeds. Biting into this, it seems like mostly seeds. It's not overly sweet, has a lot of chew to it without being offensive. And all those different seed flavors mixed together makes it very complex. I like it. Not bad. Everyone's seen M&Ms before, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on these. A couple of them look a little weird. They have some kind of residue on them, but they're still in their whole form. This is for you, Smitty. Down the hatch. Those taste absolutely perfect. I think we'll finish this lunch off with one of our Lifesavers. We do have such a big pack, I guess I should start eating them. Just your standard Lifesaver mint, although this is Pep-O mint flavor instead of peppermint flavor. A little bit sweet, mild mint flavor. And these are a little bit different than US Lifesavers. They're not so powdery. They almost have a little bit of a chew to them. I actually really like those. Nice. All right, well that was lunch. Finally, it's dinner time. I've already heated the retort for the main. Let's get right in to these instant mashed potatoes. This calls for 250 mils or 1 cup of boiling water. There's potato flake all in the Ziploc. Looks like there's some little flakes of chive. That's a welcome addition. Instant mashed potatoes can usually take as much water as you'll add to them. Give that a good stir, and it is sucking that water right up. All the water's gone just like that. So let's go ahead and get this out on the tray here. Boy, that's hot. Look at that, a big clot of instant mash. Surprisingly enough, it looks like it all mixed up properly. It's very thick. Dang, that's looking pretty good. Let's free this main. This one was our Moroccan lamb. Oh, another good looking one. And that one smells amazing. Maybe even better than the butter chicken if that's possible. This one for sure has cumin in it. I can smell that first and foremost. A lot of liquid. And let's get our tea going. Only ingredient on this is black tea. Looks like that is Bell brand. Never heard of it. No, it's a nice smelling tea though. Pretty fragrant. So right away we can see this has chickpeas and some beans. No, those are not beans. Those are raisins. What the heck? It has raisins in it. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Raisins are quite prominent in your Middle Eastern type fare. I know that Morocco's not in the Middle East, but they share some aspects of their cuisine. The sauce is super thick. It looks like it would be great served over some rice. The chunks of beef look pretty soft. They don't seem to be quite as dry as that chicken was with our other meal. But that's basically all I'm seeing in the sauce is beef, chickpeas or garbanzo beans, and raisins. So let's get a taste of it. Get a little bit of everything in that bite. First time I've had like a curry sauce with raisins. Whoa. That is outstanding. I think I said a moment ago that was beef in this. Of course, I had a momentary lapse of judgment. This is most certainly lamb, and you taste that right away, that's for sure. It has a fantastic lamb flavor. The meat is along the same lines as that chicken, a little bit on the dry side. That might be a little off-putting to some, but the combination of flavors in this is some next level ration food for sure. The sweetness of the raisins, a little bit of spiciness, and that sort of cumin predominance in the spice flavor, outstanding. Let's try out our mash. Instant mashed potatoes, down under style. They're not super oniony. Those are very tasty though. Mild, but inviting. I'll tell you what, I think those potatoes would like a little bit of this sauce, almost like a gravy. Now maybe potatoes and Moroccan lamb isn't the most traditional combo, but I have a feeling it's gonna be pretty good. Oh, and it is. The same way I said that Moroccan lamb looked like it would be good served over rice, it's equally good used as a gravy for your mashed potatoes. Those potatoes can benefit from some black pepper, pretty much as always. I put a lot on there. Might as well pepper up this too. There's a lot of pepper in that pack. I'll probably only use about half of it. That was enough to put pepper on every dish we had today. Potatoes pretty much never have quite enough salt, so we'll put a little salt on them too. They're so thick you really can't mix it in without adding more water to it, and I don't want to do that because that would probably take away from it. So I'll just go right in for a scoop with the pepper and salt right on top. Black pepper, salt, and potatoes, they are best friends. Get a little bit more of our Moroccan lamb here with the potato. I thought lunch was good, but holy crap, this is excellent. Let's pull ye old Fred back into service to open our Readiness can of diced pears. If this would have been peaches as opposed to pears, I probably would have had it with breakfast, used it in with the muesli, but being pears, figure we have a fruity dessert-like thing with our dinner meal here. Fred is a pleasure to use. Look at those. Nice chunks. The syrup they're in is a very light syrup. Try a spoonful of those right away. Very sweet. No canned flavor. These are still in perfect shape. Not super gritty like some canned pears can tend to be. It's just canned fruit, but these are really good. So good, in fact, I've almost finished this can off. The deeper I'm getting in there, the more syrup is in each bite and the sweeter it's getting. Well, nothing left to do with that, but down the rest of that syrup. The pears were a win. We got our biscuit jam sandwich. I believe this is essentially a jammy dodger, which is apparently a pretty common Australian cookie. Yep, that's what they look like. They have little stars in the middle, sort of a really thick, sticky raspberry jam usually. And the cookie itself is sort of like a shortbread cookie. Well, they're very chewy feeling actually, probably from that jam. Oh yeah, crunchy, yet chewy. Sweet, but not too sweet. I said the jam of these is usually raspberry. This is actually strawberry. The jam is so dehydrated, it's not really like a liquid. It's like a sticky, goopy substance. Let's double up on our strawberry. We'll put some actual strawberry jam on our jam sandwich. The jam in the CR1M might be the best jam of any ration I've had so far. It's great. It's been excellent on anything I put it on. Mixed with the jam sandwich there, made it a flavor explosion. And I'm back on this main again. It's just so good. Right up my alley. I love these Middle Eastern type inspired dishes, even though this one, I suppose, is technically African inspired. All right, let's get a sip of our tea here. Even unsweetened, that tea's pretty good. It's not bitter, nice and floral. It's not as strong as like an English black tea, but it's good. I think it would benefit from a little bit of sugar. And since I have some of this creamer left, put some of that non-dairy creamer in there. I don't usually have creamer with my tea, but it is okay every now and then. That creamer is quite clumpy. Oh God, what have I done? This cup of tea looks like an absolute nightmare at this point. It is so light and it has floating clumps of creamer in it that are not wanting to dissolve at all. I don't know about in Australia, but I think in the UK, this one might get me tarred and feathered. After vigorous stirring, I got it mostly dissolved. Well, let's give it a taste. Yeah, there's no tea flavor left. It just tastes like sugar and cream. So I might have ruined that cup, but at least I have one tea bag left. I do want to try my jam sandwich one more way. I still have all the sweetening condensed milk, so I figure we'll put a little bit of that on it. That should be a decent mix. Like I said before, these cookies are not super sweet, so a little bit of extra sugar, that definitely doesn't hurt. Now I think it's time to finish off our food portion of this review with a chocolate ration. It looks to be thoroughly bloomed. Whoa, what has happened here? We have sort of a milk solid blowout on the end. It almost looks like white chocolate down here on the bottom. What has happened here? I guess that's some separation of milk fats. I'm not sure, let's taste that. Oh yeah, that's just straight fat. Interesting, I've never seen a chocolate bar do that before. It has some blooming going on pretty much all the way through the middle, it appears. Certainly smells like milk chocolate. Let's give it a taste. It is milk chocolate. No real snap. Upon dissolving though, it tastes really nice. That's still really odd how we have like such separation on that. I've never seen that before. Even though this chocolate looks a little sketch, it's still very good. Well, we got a pack of matches. I guess we just strike one, see if the striker actually works. Took 3 tries, but it struck. So I guess it does the job. I almost forgot, but I did want to try out this tomato ketchup, even though there's nothing in this ration that screams, put ketchup on me. I just want to see if it's any different from my idea of ketchup. It's a lot darker than American ketchup. Oh, it's definitely different. That's more like a barbecue sauce than it is ketchup. It almost reminds me of the tomato ketchup from Russian rations. The best way I can describe this is a very tart barbecue sauce-like flavor. It's actually really good and better than any ketchup ever thought of being. It has clove in it. I pick up on that spice right away. There's definitely clove in this. Pretty good. With the way this tastes with that clove, I actually think it would go fairly well if you really wanted to with either of these mains. These mains don't really need it, but it's not a flavor that's going to make them any worse. And if you are already eating these a lot, I'm sure you would like to have that little bit of flavor variation going on. The sort of complex spice flavor of this just mixes right in with that main, adds a little bit more sourness. It's a good combo. Finally, we have our Mentos gum. This one's a little bit crushed looking. Now that is good chewing gum. I love Mentos gum anyway. It's soft. The candy shell is a perfect thickness. Nice mint flavor. Well guys, that's gonna about wrap it up. That was our CR1M from 2018. This was a fantastic meal. It took all day to get through. I am super full. I don't know a lot about the soldiers down under, but I can tell you one thing. They are well taken care of on the food front. This is a world-class ration. Absolutely excellent and a fantastic experience. Thanks so much for watching, guys. This has been Ration Rewind, the series in which I'm reposting my old ration reviews from my first YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up to help it out with that Google algorithm. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to catch all of my future ration content. This is the one-stop shop for MRE related content. Old and new, foreign and domestic, military and commercial. We do it all here on Readiness Rations. Be sure to drop me a comment and check out my social links down in the description of this video. And I will be back with a new video for you guys next week. Until then, I will catch you in the next video. See you then. Peace.